Well, church, we wanted to do one more devotional to share with you. I hope that you've enjoyed these. I hope that they have helped you to celebrate Holy Week with us. And, as we look at Saturday, there's not going to be a long Bible verse I'm going to read because the Bible really doesn't talk about much. The Bible tells us two things. It tells us that on the Sabbath they rested just as God has commanded. And it says that the Jews and the Romans were afraid that the believers would try to steal Jesus' body. And so they put a stone and guards in front of the stone. And you see in this story, you have to imagine the disciples. They're there and they don't know what's going on. Jesus told them this was going to happen, but they ran away when it did. And you can see that only John was at the cross. You see there's probably a lot of fear in their lives. There's a lot of worry. They don't know what's going to happen next. You might like to think that they know that Jesus is going to rise from the dead, but you see on Saturday morning, the women were going to the tomb to prepare Jesus' body. And so you see in the story that it's a very hard time for the disciples. It's a very difficult time. You can only imagine the emotions and what's going through their heads. But if there's anything that we could tell the disciples, it would be that I know this Saturday is hard. I know this Saturday is difficult. But Sunday is coming. Easter Sunday is coming. And you see in the story that even though this Saturday was hard, even though it was difficult, God was in control and he had a plan. And so as we look at the story, there's a couple of things that I hope we can see. And one of them is that God is still working even if we don't see it. For the disciples, they didn't know what God was doing. They were confused. They were worried. They didn't know that Easter Sunday, the greatest Sunday that we were going to get to celebrate, was just about to happen. And there's some times in our lives where we feel like we can't find God, that he's nowhere to be found and he's not helping us. We're praying, we're reaching out, we're praying, and nothing's happening. But God's working even when we don't see it. And then when you see that God's faithful even if you don't feel it. For these disciples, you see this, that verses like Lamentations 3 where it says that I'm downcast, my soul is depressed, but God's mercy is new every morning. And they knew those verses too, but you have to remember that God is faithful, even if it doesn't feel like he's being faithful to you. And then for us as believers, Romans 8:28 says that God works all things out together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So God is working it out for your good, even if it doesn't seem like it. Even if the time you're going through, the period in your life is difficult, even if it makes no sense, even if it's hard, God is working everything out for your good. And it's just an encouragement to you when you're going through these difficult times, where you're going through times where you don't feel God working, it doesn't seem like he's faithful, it doesn't seem like he's working out for your good. I want to encourage you to just follow one of the examples that the disciples gave. It says that on the Sabbath, they rested just as it was commanded. If you are in a place where it doesn't feel like God's working, if it doesn't seem like God is still with you, it doesn't seem like he's being faithful, just keep doing what he has called you to do. Just keep following what you know and what you know that God wants you to do. Trust in his faithfulness. Trust that he is working. And when you do, God will always remind you that there's something better happening. There is something coming. Sunday is coming. It doesn't matter what Saturday is like. Sunday is coming. Church, we are excited to get to worship with you tomorrow. And I hope that no matter what's going on in your life, you remember that God is a God of encouragement. God wants you to know that he is working, that he is faithful. He's working out everything out for your good. We love you, church, and we'll see you tomorrow.